hoping it's not so noisy that you can't actually hear me. I've come out to a place that I've heard of, but I've never actually visited. And this is really, I'm having to be very careful as to where I'm standing, because this little pathway is very slippy. It's covered in rocks and moss and tree roots. So I'm having to be a little bit careful. Yes, I've heard about this place, and this is woohoo, more of a scouting trip than anything. The trees around home are just starting to change colour. So I thought I'd have a nip out to find some flowing water and see what I could find. Now, I have no real preconceived ideas of what I'm going to find here. I know there's a little river or a little brook, and we have rocks and we have greenery. I have one image in my mind that I would like to get, but I think it's a little bit too late in the season. The greenery is sort of starting to turn. It is a Saturday afternoon and the place is heaving. The car park is absolutely rammed to the rafters. It is overcast. It's very windy up top. So it's really a perfect day for coming down and exploring a little river. You don't really want high winds, because that's going to move the greenery around down here. You also don't want particularly, I don't think, strong sunlight, because it tends to break through the canopy and you get hot spots, which is really not the plan. So a murky, overcast day is perfect. I didn't have to wander far. I'm literally about 100 yards from where I spoke to you last. Now, there are a couple of disadvantages to trying to shoot running water in this area. The water is very peaty, so you don't get the really nice white water. It's a yucky, mucky, browny colour, which is a bit, yeah, it's a bit iffy, but it is what it is. It's how this place looks naturally. We've also got a very dark area over to this side and a bit of a lighter area over to this side. The way I've composed this image, I've cut out all of the sky. So although it looks quite bright on me, I'm actually stood in a gap underneath the canopy. I'm not getting a huge amount of natural light down here. Now, I'm not using any filters. I've got it down to what are we on? F8.5 seconds. Which is perfect. But what I want to do is take the glare off the water, which means adding a polarizer, which is going to extend my exposure time. But I'm going to have a play and see what it looks like. I wanted to catch a little bit of motion in the water. I started off shooting at f14 and that was giving me 5-6 seconds, and that was just completely smooth. Which, much as I love completely smooth water, I think for waterfalls sometimes it helps to get a little bit of motion in it. So then I dropped down to f8. That still gives me plenty of depth of field with where I'm shooting, which is up the valley. I'll show you in a second. It gives me enough depth of field because you will get natural fall off. I'm catching the little cascades, because there's one, two, three, there's about 6 little cascades coming down to this big drop here, and I've got it coming round. It sort of snakes in, comes in from the left, goes to the right, and then comes out the bottom left of the screen, which I think works quite nicely. Well, I'm hoping that you can see this quite clearly. The angle on the lens for my phone isn't quite wide enough, but just here, this bit of the waterfall comes out and comes down into this corner. So you can see I'm getting the cascades in there, which is what I was after. Quite a dark, shady area over on the right, a little bit lighter over on the left, and my camera is taking it to about there. So I've got quite a nice lead back up through to the far end of the valley. And I quite like that. I'll show you the difference between polarized and non-polarized. Okay, so I kind of settled a little bit. That is non-polarized, sorry, that is full polarization. That's half polarization. That is no polarization at all, which is far too bright. Now, being the landscape polarizer, this also adds a little bit of warmth to the image as well. Oops, let's see if we can get back there. So I settled in the end for half polarization, which I think works a little bit better. We're getting a little bit of trailing here. I've got a doggy come to say hello. Hello, sweetheart. Hello. What a cutie. So I'm getting, there we are, where are we? Back to, I get distracted so easily. So I'm getting a little bit of lightness here, but not completely white out down here. So yes, the light is dropping because we are heading up towards sunset. Not that there's going to be a sunset. This is a proper little gem of a place, and I wish I'd come out earlier. I've been fannying around at home. I've just found literally 150 yards from where I was another composition. I can't talk to you down here because it's so loud, but essentially I've got the waterfall coming out the bottom left hand side of the frame. We have a little sort of S-curve up, and beyond got this beautiful, which is totally out of focus because the focus system on this phone's bizarre. This green tree, it's a beech tree, is really popping. It's catching a little bit of the what is left of the light, and I think that works quite nicely. I have had to put a 0.3 grad filter on because otherwise the difference in exposure, or it looked like a photo of two halves. It was brighter on the top than it was on the bottom. By putting the 0.3 on, it's just evened it out that little bit, and that vivid green really pops. I'll turn you around and see if I can show you this slightly better. Right, now you're going to have to excuse me shouting because it is quite loud down here. The rocks here that have got the little leaves on have no real definition in them. These two rocks do have, however, and that tree is just wonderful. Now I've shot it in portrait. Oh, I'm at f6.3, sorry, and I was at 5 seconds. I've dropped my white balance down to, let's have a look, white balance is at 5260 because it is so warm down here, and the polarizer adds to that warmth. So yeah, I'm liking that. I'm really glad I came out. Now I know there is a huge amount more that I could wander off and see here, and I've kind of been a little bit too caught up in taking photos to actually talk much. But it's just blown my mind. It is fabulous. What I think I should have done was, apart from get myself out of the house damn sight earlier, I should have wandered down to the end, or wandered all along the brook, excuse me, oi, and then walked back up, taking the images. But because time is not on my side, because I was a lazy tart and didn't get out of bed early enough, that really wasn't an option. And I think I've got about as far as I want to go. Oi. Oh, there's a nice little bridge here, and I think I'm going to call it quits. Oh, with you, go on. There's a nice little bridge here, so I think I'm going to call it quits here. And I'm going to come back another day. Yeah, I'm also going to come back during the summer. If we get some rain, then with the greenery, that'll be absolutely fantastic. So I'm just going to try and find one more composition, and that's it.